Hi everyone, it's Bee here from Bee's Patch. Today I'm talking to you about composting. Composting is a vital aspect of my vegetable garden and I love integrating it into my garden all the time. I use my compost system every day when I'm out in the garden because there's often things that I'm pulling out of the garden and putting into my compost. Here we use a 3-bay system. So you pop, here it is behind me. So you put your compost in the first bay and let it fill right to the top. Once it's at the top, then you move it to the second bay and then you move it on to the third bay, which is behind me. Now, key aspects for a compost bay. Make sure that the wood that you're using and things like that doesn't have any chemicals or things that will leach into your compost. It's really important that if you are trying to garden organically, that you don't have any chemicals and things in your compost bays, or it defeats the purpose of making your own compost. Make sure that your bottom of your compost doesn't actually have anything there. Make sure it's straight onto the ground. And lastly, see how you can see straight through my pellets? It's really good if you put some carpet or something up there to stop the compost falling out the back. And I always cover my compost with carpet as well, or something that is less toxic as well. Okay, so key things to put in your compost: make sure that you're not putting in dairy products or meat or things that rodents and things will come to try and eat out of your compost, because otherwise you'll end up having lots of mice and rats and things coming into your compost all the time, which is not what you want. Things that are really good for the compost, I like to put in stinging nettles when they're around. They help vamp up the compost a lot quicker, okay? So you want to, when you're making a compost, you need to do layers, okay, and a mix of browns and greens. So scraps out of the house, peelings, any vegetables or fruits, things like that, you can pop into the compost. Breads and things aren't really for the compost, so don't pop them in there. Make sure you keep them separate. Eggshells I tend to put into the garden to stop the pests and weeds. I just break down the eggshells and put them in there rather than in my compost. So when you're layering, it's really good if you've got some loosened hay or some kind of leaves, dried leaves or things like that that you can use. I tend to put a layer of things like this or things that are coming out of the garden. Then I'll put a layer of lucerne, and then I might even put a layer of some brown things that I have, so dried leaves or things like that. You can also add a layer of molasses, just a trinkle of molasses through your compost to feed any worms and witchetty grubs and beetles and things that are coming in to help break down that soil. It's really important that you turn your soil regularly in your compost. So it mightn't be that you're putting it to the next one every week, but it might be that you're actually turning your compost in the bay each week. Mine, I'm not turning enough at the moment and it is still breaking down, but if you turn it enough, then it will break down faster. So it's really important to get that air in there and keep aerating the compost. The worms will build little tunnels through your compost and the little bugs, but it's really important that if you're got a pitchfork and you're turning your compost, it will really help the process. Now, your compost shouldn't smell. If it's starting to smell, you need to turn it and start your layering process again. Okay, it's really important that it doesn't smell and that it can work well. There might be mold and things in there at times, and that's part of the breakdown of the process, so that would be all right, but if it's smelling, I'd be starting again. Happy gardening, guys. Check out my Facebook page, Bees Patch, and I'll see you around. Enjoy. Bye.